Imagine this. You are standing in a high-end showroom, prepared to sign a check for a motorhome that costs a staggering $200,000. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. For decades, this was the undisputed market standard. This was the price of admission for luxury on the open road. But suddenly, in 2025, a seismic shift occurred that shook the foundations of the entire global industry. A Chinese company launched a motorhome that looks like an executive jet from the outside, is packed with cutting-edge technology on the inside, and features a price tag so low it sent a literal shockwave through the biggest American RV brands. This was not just about being a cheaper alternative. The real panic started when industry experts realized there was absolutely no compromise in features. Smart centralized controls, seamless solar integration, and ultra-modern interiors. Everything was there. This meant the exact same luxury lifestyle people had been overpaying for years was now available at almost half the cost. So, what kind of machine has China built that has American CEOs losing sleep, and how can it possibly compete with the legacy of America's RV giants? The truth you are about to see in this video might change the way you think about mobile living forever. Make sure you watch until the very end because the numbers we are about to reveal will shatter your perception of value. Before we move ahead, subscribe to the channel now so you can be the first to see the future of tech before everyone else. If you examine the RV industry closely, a very strange and frustrating pattern appears. From the outside, everything looks brand new, shiny, and full of the promise of adventure. But the internal story is something else entirely. For years, this entire industry has been controlled by a small circle of American companies. The same manufacturers, the same outdated designs, and the same heavy diesel engines. They make a tiny cosmetic change every year and market it as a revolutionary new model. In reality, there has been no significant leap in technology or engineering for decades. Now, let's talk about the real problem that owners face. Most RV enthusiasts admit that water leaks, poor insulation, and critical parts failing prematurely are common nightmares in these expensive vehicles. Many owners find themselves spending thousands on repairs after just 2 or 3 trips. From the outside, these American RVs look premium, but under the skin, they run on old, fragile systems that haven't evolved. And here is the biggest financial shock. The price. An average American RV costs around $150,000, but the second you drive it out of the showroom, its value plummets by almost 20%. That is a massive financial loss within minutes of purchase. This is exactly why many owners jokingly, yet painfully, call their RV a money pit. While the American industry was comfortably coasting on this broken system, China was quietly watching every single mistake from the sidelines. If you looked at China's RV market back in 2019, you wouldn't have seen anything impressive. The entire country had barely 200,000 units. It was considered a niche experiment for most people. RVing was not a lifestyle. It was a curiosity. Honestly, the vehicles being produced at that time were of poor quality, cheap materials, weak chassis, and they would literally start rattling apart the moment they hit a rough road. From an American perspective, it looked like China was decades behind. But this is exactly where the real game of strategy began. China wasn't just making mediocre vans. They were analyzing the entire global supply chain. They observed exactly where American companies were getting lazy, where the technology had stalled, where the markups were unnecessarily high, and where customers were being sold the same old technology wrapped in a new name. This wasn't a sprint. It was a calculated move. At first, they tried to copy existing designs, but they quickly realized that to win, they had to rewrite the rules. They decided that if they wanted to dominate the global stage, they first needed to master the core technologies that the West was ignoring. This led to the development of 3 secret advantages that the rest of the world simply cannot match right now. The first major advantage was EV battery dominance. While American RV companies were still struggling with heavy diesel generators and basic lead-acid batteries, China had already surged ahead in the electric vehicle revolution. High-capacity batteries, intelligent power management, and extreme energy efficiency were already standard for them. This meant they could transform an RV from a mere vehicle into a powerful, self-sustaining mobile home that could operate for days without ever needing to plug into a grid. The second massive advantage was vertical manufacturing efficiency. China's production ecosystem is so integrated and fast that they can slash production costs by nearly 60%. While Western brands depend on dozens of different third-party suppliers, each adding their own profit margin, China controls the entire process within a single system. This results in lower costs, tighter quality control, and faster innovation. The third and perhaps most dangerous advantage was their lack of attachment to the way things have always been done. American companies are weighed down by decades of legacy thinking and old factory tooling, making change expensive and slow. China, however, had nothing to lose. From day one, they approached the problem with a blank slate, focused on building a future. The world was about to see what happens when a tech giant decides to build a house on wheels, and the results were more shocking than anyone could have predicted. This set the stage for a vehicle that would make $500,000 luxury liners look like overpriced relics. And then, that precise moment arrived, the one that truly paralyzed the entire industry with fear. It was the global reveal of the Wanuka T5DM Pro Max. At first glance, veteran RV enthusiasts thought this was just another sleek prototype that would never see the light of day. But as the official specifications began to leak, the industry realized this wasn't just a prototype. It was a predator. This vehicle redefined everything we thought we knew about power management on the road. First, let's talk about its massive 55 kilowatt-hour battery pack. To put that into perspective, having a battery of this scale in a standard motorhome was previously unheard of. It meant you could live in absolute comfort for days on end without ever touching a noisy generator or desperately searching for a shore power plug. But the real engineering genius lies in its powertrain. It features a sophisticated hybrid electric-diesel system based on BYD's world-leading automotive technology. This is the ultimate best of both worlds scenario. When you need raw power for long stretches, you have the diesel engine. But when you want a silent, vibration-free, and futuristic driving experience, you switch to pure electric mode. Then there is the solar integration. The panels on the roof aren't just an afterthought or a marketing gimmick. They are part of an advanced energy ecosystem designed to keep the RV self-sufficient in the middle of a desert or deep in the mountains. This is true off-grid living, perfected. Now, let's step inside because this is where the American luxury brands really start to look like relics of the past. The interior of the Wanuka T5DM Pro Max is nothing like the cramped, wooden, old-fashioned trailers we've seen for 50 years. It feels like stepping into a multimillion-dollar luxury yacht. We are talking about a clean, minimalist aesthetic, high-grade materials, and a layout that screams premium from the second you cross the threshold. It even features an AI-driven climate control system that actually learns your habits, automatically adjusting the environment so you never have to fiddle with a thermostat again. When global experts saw these features, one question was on everyone's mind. If this were sold under a major American brand name, what would it cost? The answer was unanimous. At least $500,000. Because that level of tech, that quality of interior, and that sophisticated power system in a Western brand would easily command a $500,000 price tag. But when the actual price was announced, the internet nearly crashed. It was so low that people immediately assumed it was a scam. They thought the quality must be garbage or the features were fake. The skepticism was intense. Independent reviewers, determined to expose the truth, took these RVs to the extreme. They drove them across harsh terrains, tested the battery cycles, and inspected every weld in the chassis. Their conclusion shocked the world even further. They stated clearly that the build quality doesn't just match American premium brands. In many technical aspects, it actually surpasses them. The problem wasn't the quality. The problem was the outdated mindset of the traditional industry. For a century, we were told that luxury and high-tech must be expensive. This Chinese revolution proved that was a lie. Then came the Great Wall Power RV, which brought a practical revolution to the market. While the Wanuka shocked people with luxury, the Great Wall model focused on what an RV should actually be, a tool for real-world adventure. It features a legitimate, heavy-duty 4x4 system, not just a badge on the back, but a real off-road setup. This means while standard American RVs are forced to stay on paved highways, this model can navigate mud, mountain trails, and rocky paths without breaking a sweat. It reaches the places where the real adventure happens. Inside, the practicality continues. It has a full, usable bathroom and an ingenious expandable living space that grows when you park, giving you a massive apartment-style feel in the middle of nowhere. It's not a showpiece. It's a battle-ready home on wheels. This is where the consumer realization became a full-blown rebellion. People started comparing the $55,000 price tag of these advanced Chinese models to the $180,000 price tags of outdated American competitors. This isn't just a small price gap, it's a total market disruption. The realization hit the RV community like a ton of bricks. We have been paying 3 times the price for technology that is 20 years old. This wasn't just about saving money anymore. It was about the anger of being overcharged for mediocrity for so long. The secret lies in what is known as vertical integration. In America, an RV is a Frankenstein vehicle. The chassis comes from Ford, the cabinets from one vendor, the electronics from another, and the plumbing from a third. Every single middleman adds a profit margin, driving the price into the stratosphere while making quality control a nightmare. In China, one company often builds the entire ecosystem, the chassis, the batteries, the motors, and the smart systems all under one roof. No extra markups. Full control. Total efficiency. A prime example is the Dongfeng MS600. It wasn't built from a modified delivery van. It was designed from the ground up as a heavy-duty truck platform with 300 horsepower and a permanent 4WD system. It was built for the worst roads on Earth, while American luxury RVs are built for manicured campgrounds. When you put these two manufacturing philosophies side by side, it becomes painfully clear why the old giants are losing. One side is assembling parts. The other is designing the future of mobility. One side is increasing costs at every step, while the other is perfecting efficiency. This isn't just a price war. It's an engineering massacre that is forcing every CEO in Indiana to rethink their entire existence. The road to the future is being paved right now, and for the first time in history, the driver isn't who you expected. Prepare yourself for the final reveal in the next part, where we look at the extreme models that cost less than a used car. Where it previously felt like China was only focused on high-tech and mid-range luxury, new models are now emerging that completely shatter every remaining boundary of common sense. Let's talk about the DTL Beluga Whale RV. The name might sound unusual, but its features are a direct assault on the traditional market. For a price of around $80,000, it offers a full smart home experience that makes Western motorhomes look like primitive cabins. It features an integrated AI-based camera system that doesn't just show you what's behind you. It actively detects pedestrians and obstacles with military-grade precision, providing a layer of safety that was previously reserved for autonomous luxury cars. Inside, the Beluga Whale is a masterpiece of spatial engineering. It includes a complete smart home setup where lighting, climate, and security are all interconnected and voice-controlled. It comfortably fits a king-size bed, a full designer kitchen, and a residential-style shower, making it fully ready for permanent living, not just a weekend trip. But the real internet-breaking news started when reports surfaced of certain RV models in China starting at an unbelievable $12,000. People immediately called it fake news. They claimed it was impossible to build a functioning motorhome for the price of a used motorcycle. However, when investigators looked deeper, the truth was even more disruptive. Yes, these ultra-cheap RVs exist. While they are basic and lack the high-end AI of their $100,000 cousins, they provide the essential freedom of the road to the average person. In America, the RV industry has always marketed itself as an exclusive, expensive luxury for a specific elite group, mostly retirees with massive savings. But China has flipped the script. They have turned the RV into a practical, everyday tool for the common person. They believe that an RV should be as accessible as a normal car, and this shift in thinking is causing a global explosion in demand. Between 2019 and 2021, while the rest of the world was struggling with supply chain issues, China's RV market grew by over 25% in record time. This wasn't just a small bump in sales. It was a cultural revolution driven by young families who refused to be chained to expensive hotels or outdated travel methods. For them, the RV is about total freedom and zero dependency. This is where the gap between the East and West becomes a canyon. In America, the RV is still often a showpiece. Big, heavy, and incredibly expensive to maintain. In China, it has become a high-efficiency energy system on wheels. While Western companies are still debating whether electric RVs are even practical, China has already moved into the mass adoption phase of EV and hybrid systems. These new units aren't just vehicles. They are mobile power stations. With massive solar arrays and AI-driven battery optimization, these RVs can increase energy efficiency by nearly 40% automatically. You can stay off-grid for weeks, truly carrying your home into the wild without ever needing to find a power outlet. The disruption is already crossing borders. Brands like Maxus have announced their entry into the European market. Not with luxury liners, but with high-tech electric campers priced between $40,000 and $50,000. This is a direct, lethal challenge to European giants like Volkswagen, whose equivalent models often cost double that amount. European dealers who ignored Chinese brands for years are now lining up for partnerships because they realize that if they don't join this wave now, they will be drowned by it. Back in America, the legacy companies are responding with talk of tariffs and quality concerns. But behind closed doors, the story is very different. Industry reports suggest that American executives are quietly touring Chinese factories in a desperate attempt to understand how they achieved such massive scale and efficiency. They have realized that the China threat isn't a future possibility. It is a present reality. By 2026, China's RV market is projected to cross 300,000 units, becoming a dominant global force in an industry it barely participated in a decade ago. So, the ultimate question remains, will the American giants finally innovate and lower their prices to save their legacy? Or will consumers simply walk away and choose the better, smarter, and cheaper options? Today's buyers don't care about a brand name that hasn't changed since the 1970s. They care about value, technology, and the future. The RV revolution hasn't just arrived. It has already taken over the road. The only question left is, who will keep driving and who will be left in the rearview mirror? If you found this industry reveal shocking, you need to subscribe to this channel right now. We go behind the headlines to show you the truth that the mainstream media and big corporations try to ignore. Don't get left behind in the old world. Join us as we explore the future of technology and freedom. The road is changing, and we are here to show you exactly where it's going. Stay tuned, because this is only the beginning.